面白い。すごい。このまま攻めましょう。俺がやります。お任せください。頑張ってください。行きますよ。
Hello everyone, how y'all doing? So, I kind of want to give a little bit of a follow-up because I want to talk about the game from a more, technical side as far as like the gameplay. Because I did, review the story mode, but I didn't really talk too much about the general changes in the game because this was meant to be a more story mode oriented review. I don't typically review the general gameplay, at least not recently when it comes to, a lot of the CyberConnect 2 games. Like, I recall that the last two ones that I reviewed, which was the first Hinokami Chronicles games and also Stone Connections, I mainly talk about the story mode because it is something that I care about. But in terms of like the gameplay, I did share my brief thoughts and I did say that in general, I did like the game, like how it felt, but in general, it kind of feels more or less the same as the first one. Like the game doesn't have like a big, massive like mechanic change that really puts this like on a different, playing field as like the first one. And honestly, if you watch the footage in my video, you might look at it and think, oh, that's just the first game. What's the fucking difference? Because yeah, at first glance, there's really not a lot of differences. But I will say one thing though, there are definitely changes, and as I keep playing this game more and more, I'm starting to really acknowledge some of the changes that not even I knew when I when I first started playing this game. And some of these are like really cool changes. So for example, one thing that I actually was not aware of, I'm telling you right now, I had no idea it existed, was actually, it's not even necessarily that I didn't know it existed. I just didn't know this was something that was exclusive to this game, which is essentially air dash cancels mid air combos. The thing is, I saw some people doing this. I mean, like a couple of YouTube videos. Like I saw Argon and Globeku doing it with a couple of characters, and I saw that, and I was a little bit impressed because I never personally pulled that off. But for some reason, I guess I just always assumed you could do that in the first game, but it turns out you can. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna give you an example. So, actually, no, this is a bad example. Let me try again. So essentially, so you see what I did there? I finished her air combos, her air normals, and then I side dash, which allowed me to extend it. This is something that apparently it's pretty exclusive to this game, because if I do the same thing with the first game, and yes, I know you're reading what's sitting here, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, I own this game. I have Hinokami Chronicles for the Switch. I have it on disc, or game card, whatever you want to call it. I dumped the game files myself. I didn't download this from any site, so if there's one thing you can accuse me of, it's not piracy. But regardless, let me just continue the gameplay. If I try to do the same thing, it actually just won't work, because essentially what'll happen is, first of all, it won't even really cancel into her normals, and she just defaults by landing. Like this is just something that happens no matter how many times I try. Like I've tried this a couple of times, it just doesn't work. Like it's just not a thing. And one other thing that I've also noticed about these side cancels is that you can also do this with like skills. So for example, let me put it to the air. Water wheel side cancel. Okay, that was a bad example. Let me try again. Water wheel cancel. So yeah, you can even do this with skills, and I've actually been experimenting with Shinobu because like, let me actually see if I might not even have the clip right here with me, but there's some like really fucking unoptimal, don't get me wrong, it's unoptimal as fuck, but some like pretty stylish combos with the whole air dash cancels after his skills. It can make for some pretty stylish combos. And yeah, you can do this here. One other thing that I've noticed, and this is more of a balance thing, not necessarily a general mechanic change, but like I did notice that in this game, if I do her normal skills and then let me try again. Her normal skill. Actually, no, I have to do it twice. Bam, bam. Actually, no. In this case, it didn't work. Let me try again. Okay, this time it did work. So essentially, I can do her normal skills and then cancel with her guard skills. I actually can't do that in the first game. Cause I think I vaguely remember like I was testing Makomo because Makomo used to be a character that, she's one of the first characters available when you play the game. So I remember, I picked her when I first picked up Demon Slayer. She was like one of my first few, characters that I kind of labbed. And I did notice that in the second game, she was doing more damage than usual. And I was like, what the fuck? Where is this damage coming from? And yeah, I did notice that like at least part of it is because I can pull off some fucking combos that I just wasn't able to do it in the past. Like if I tried, oh, this is a Switch game. If I try the same thing, it just doesn't work. Oh, actually, wait, this time I think it did work. Let me try again. Maybe it does with the first slide. Yeah, it works with the first slide, but if I try the second, it just never connects. And this is one thing I can tell you right now. I've tried multiple times. It never connects. So this is more of a balance patch, but still, it's a pretty cool one. And one other thing. So you have our heavies right here. After this, it's very hard to cancel with an error combo. Like there might be some characters that like maybe the window is high enough that they can cancel it, but at least with Makomo, if I try, it'll always reset the combo. And I'm pretty sure that this is a universal thing that they changed, but I could be wrong on that. Maybe there is one character that I'm not aware of, but at least in this game, since they changed the inputs for heavy attacks, they're basically just a fourth skill at this point. If I do the same thing, I can cancel much more easily. So yeah, like there's like minor things like that. Like again, if you're someone who's playing casually, you're gonna look at both games and be like, what the fuck, it's the same thing. And then to be fair, for the most part, it is the same thing. But like once you start noticing like little things, that's when you start to like appreciate like that's when you really start to like appreciate the little changes that maybe it shows some degree of there's also like team ultimates. Obviously that wasn't in the first game, but like yeah, at least me personally, as someone who does like I for one, when it comes to fighting games, I obviously like the competitive side of things. I like seeing the best players like doing what they can to beat the opponent. Then again, in this game we have a bit of a Susamoto problem, but that's a whole other can of worms. But obviously I do like seeing people using their best skills for things like the neutral game, their defensive mechanics, their counter attacks, their DPs. I like all that stuff. But one part about fighting games that I've also really appreciated, and it's one of those things that can sometimes even be like a make it or break it for me, is combos. I like combos. I really like exploring combo possibilities with characters. And that's one of the things that with Storm, for example, to me, the biggest problem I have with Storm is just that it is not very friendly with combos. In Storm Connections, they definitely did make a lot of attacks much more easily cancelable with each other. Like even, grabs can be canceled with normals. A lot of juices can be canceled because and also they increase not even just increase, they essentially just give like a knockdown animation for certain normals. And, it's a lot easier to cancel the jutsus with their normals and stuff like that. Sometimes even during an air combos, which wasn't as possible in the first game, you can much more easily do it in Storm Connections. Like, and also some of the buffs and debuff papers, mostly debuff papers. You can also use them to like cancel certain to extend combos. Like they made changes, but like a lot of those changes kind of don't fucking matter when you essentially give your opponent 4 substitutions and 2 support attacks that you can summon while you're being attacked. Like at that point, who's gonna be incentivized to learn how to combo? No one. It becomes a relatively minuscule part of the game because most of the fucking game is just people trying to bait subs, and then eventually it's just gonna replenish anyway. And they buffed the replenish in Storm Connection. Initially, it was slower, but then people, I guess, complained, and then they decided to buff it again. So yeah, I don't know. It's stuff like this that like why you don't often see me. Like, I guess you did see me make that video of like that Sasuke combo because it was like a nice combo that I came up with while playing the game because I was trying to like experiment with Sasuke's Sasuke's, you know, teleportation slash switch power. So I was trying to see what I could do with it, and I found some funny stuff, and it was fun at first when I got the game, but then once I started realizing that a lot of it really doesn't, it's not gonna really matter in the competitive scene because you're just gonna get people with fucking 6 ways of escaping combos. It doesn't matter at that point. But this game, on the other hand, I do think they do incentivize you to actually learn how to combo because, you know, it doesn't give you as many opportunities to escape combos. Like, yeah, sure, you can escape by summoning your assist, but you can only do it once, and you have to have 4 bars. Not 4. You have to have the 2 assist bars, which you might not always have if you're using your assist for a neutral. So you'll have a lot of opportunities to really apply the combos that you practice in, you know, in practice mode. But in Storm, I just feel like you don't get that, and that's one of the things that kind of drives me away from wanting to like experiment with combos and Storm Connections. Again, I would be willing to do it if they just weren't so hostile towards combos in general. But yeah, anyway, like this is just some of the stuff that I shared in this video. I'm sure there's probably more that I'm not aware of, but that's just the stuff that at least I notice. And yeah, I think that's about it.